All right. Welcome back to the Fold Mysteries podcast, where we seek to discover everything that lies between the folds of reality. So we had a week off, week hiatus. But in that whole process, Chad, did you have anything exciting new to share?
Uh, Nothing exciting. Working to pay for some adventures this fall, so we can go out and be in the field and do the things we love: ghost, Bigfoot, whatever, name it.
Yeah, I'm pretty excited, honestly. I'm really excited for what may happen come October, whatever that may be. Um, but we'll just have to wait and see. But I'm excited for either way. I have some big news. The reason why we had a week hiatus, my daughter, Ezra, had her son on Thursday, 9/11. And yes, I'm very excited. I'm very happy. So I have a little funny story behind that. All her life, she's been connected to the number 9/11 and she sees it everywhere. It got to the point where we started texting 9/11 on the clock. Like whenever we'd see it, we text 9/11 really fast. That way it showed the 9/11 timestamp. And when she got her due date, when she found out she was pregnant, it was 9/10. And I said, wouldn't it be crazy if you went into labor on 9/10 and had your baby on 9/11? And so all these years she's been connected to 9/11. This is what it meant. She had her baby on 9/11. So I want to congratulate Ezra with that. She had Jasper Isaiah Rain Wallace is his name. So I brought along a little video if you guys want to see it. He's so cute. I'm gonna play it now.
That was a
So
big yawn,
he's so cute. I love his little smile and then he yawns. But yeah, I'm a Gigi now. That's my grandma name.
and I want to
So
congratulate you, Grandma.
not grandma. I'm too young for the
GG.
name grandma. Yes, I'm Gigi. I said nobody better call me grandma. um, but we do have a really, really exciting guest tonight. We're a variety show. We do lots of different things. So this week, we wanted to talk with Michael La Chiana, who is very big into the paranormal. That's what he does. So Michael La Chiana is the founder and director of the Heritage Hunter Society that he created in the mid 1990s. He, growing up on Long Island, New York in the 1970s, his first ghostly recording was while using a reel to reel deck after reading a Hans Holzer article on how to record ghosts. Michael has always loved history and visiting different places. He truly believes history and the paranormal go hand in hand. Michael created the series Journey Through the Past on YouTube to share his haunted travels with everyone, and he loves the real supernatural encounters. Michael has also received Michael has also created another YouTube channel called Haunted Frequencies, the Haunted Warehouse, where he discusses and presents his EVP recordings he's got while investigating. So that is quite the bio, Michael. You're a pretty awesome fellow.
Thank
Welcome,
you. Thank you
Michael.
guys for
So
having me on. Hello. Finally, nice to meet you all and be on your wonderful show.
yes, thank you. I'm so glad you got a chance to be on here. Yeah, so two YouTube pages, and also your group and all your investigative time. So you're a busy guy, so I appreciate you coming on.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We appreciate you.
Um,
Appreciate you
yes,
all.
very much. So in your bio, you discussed talking about recording with reel to reel recorders, which is very unique, which I think researchers could benefit from getting back to because the recordings are done differently. It's not digital, it's done magnetically. So it
Yes.
kind of offers a unique sort of recording style. What do you think?
Oh yeah, definitely, absolutely. Totally different than digital, which I love digital as well. But I started out as a kid and getting into music and being a musician early on. For some reason, when I was 14, I thought that I needed to have this uh, really expensive reel-to-reel, which back then was $700. That was like $7,000 to me, and so I did purchase it and. Was putting little demos together and stuff like that. And at the same time, I loved ghosts and spirits and things. And I had read an article from Hans Holzer and on how to actually record ghosts. And I was fascinated. So I said, I got to try it with the reel to reel. And I just set it up in my home. And it wasn't with a microphone. He actually told me to plug it straight into a stereo receiver, go all the way down to zero, pure static, and just let it run. And that's exactly what I did. Those tapes were 2-hour tapes, and about an hour in, I saw the needle starting to peg for no reason. And so when I listened, I actually captured a man yelling and screaming at the top of his lungs for bloody murder, and for help. And like I said, it wasn't recorded through a microphone, so it was very interesting, and that kind of put me on the path all these years.
Wow. That's pretty awesome. So you said 1990. So how old would you have been then? You were pretty young
Uh,
when you started, right?
well, that was 1978, so I was 14 when
Oh,
I first
wow.
did my first recording. And believe it or not, I
Wow.
still have that reel to reel to this day. It's a Pioneer 707, which is a very popular, very famous reel to reel, and I still have it in my studio here. Still works. Unfortunately, the recording got destroyed years ago, got erased over by some crap or something that I was messing around with. But I still have it, and it is fascinating. And yeah, definitely, people should try and get like old cassette players and bring them on investigations and put them side by side with your digital recorder and see if you capture something on the audio tape versus the digital. You know?
That's a really good idea, like using both and kind of seeing
Oh,
what kind of effects it has on the amount of recordings you have, or if one picks up and one doesn't. That's a good idea.
yeah, yeah. I love recorders, and I'll normally set up 5 or 6 recorders throughout an entire. Say I'm doing an old home or something, and I will, and so that when I do capture an EVP, I can listen to it in different directions and kind of pinpoint where the spirit might have been in that location. But I love audio. That's a big thing to me. So and I'm very good at it, and I capture a lot of EVP recordings.
Yeah.
Can you give us
Um,
can
g-
you give us some
go ahead.
pointers on how you use it?
Well, I believe you should spend a little bit of money. You don't have to spend thousands of dollars on high end recorders, but get them more quality ones. I started out with small $30, $40 Olympus recorders like everybody else, but I was capturing so many EVPs over the time that and being a musician and that background of working in a recording studio, I upped it a little bit to better quality dual recorders. And I love dual recorders because it gives you directional. So uh, like I said, when digital came out, it was a game changer for the paranormal field because you could really capture some really crystal clear EVPs because things do go on there more electronically versus the audio tape, which is more audio. Most of the time, what you get on audio tape, you're going to hear with your ears when you're actually recording versus digital, where you could be sitting there all night and something be right next to you and you get a amazing EVP and you never heard it. So the digital is fascinating, and I still can't figure out why there is that difference. But I do believe it's more electronic, and we are electricity, we are batteries, we are vibration. So I think it has a lot to do with that as far as capturing it on digital recorder.
Yeah, it's interesting how they're able to manipulate things and space around them to be able to give us a message like that. I've always found that to be very
Yeah,
interesting.
that's crazy.
So
Yeah.
your expertise, I would say. And I don't want to use the word expert, but expertise as in like what you're most familiar with is digital recording. But
Right.
you obviously go into these haunted locations and you have experiences, personal experiences. Some of them you might not even have the opportunity to capture. So I'm sure you've been asked this a lot, but what is your most intense experience you had while investigating?
Oh wow, that's a hard question because I have so many experiences over the years, and I've been very fortunate to be able to travel to other countries and to go to France and go to England, go to Spain, and while there investigate. I've been to the catacombs in Paris, down there. I was down there and I didn't want to leave. I could have stayed there all night. I loved it, but I have to say. As far as recordings, I have so many experiences, but so I was doing one case that was really interesting, where a family was actually being tormented by spirits, and they were asking us just to come in and see what we could do. And my expertise is recording and audio, and of course capturing photos, things like that. But I don't believe in clearing a house of spirits. I don't believe that I can do that. I don't believe most people can do it. If you're a ghost and somebody comes in and it was your house, and they tell you to leave or whatever, burn some sage, you're not going to leave. But we were doing this case, and the family was being tormented, and so we did go in, and I always make the families leave when we investigate so that we're there by ourselves. And she kept saying that she was hearing music, and so I said, okay, I'll focus on that a little bit. And so while I was recording, I asked the spirit. I said, I hear you like music and you play music. I said, I'm a musician as well. I said, can you play us some music? And with that, the recorder captured a piano note, a single piano note, 55 times in a row. Bing, 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 55 times in a
Oh,
row. And another recorder was right next to it, did not capture anything. So you want
oh,
to talk about blowing your mind? That's pretty crazy. Um, so that was an interesting, different kind of experience, but it wasn't. And towards the very end, it sounded like they were getting like really into it and like almost demonic, where I was like, bing, 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 like the pitch was like raising. So it
right.
was a really interesting capture. But we did capture probably 50 or 60 EVPs in this home, and it was all different voices. And I do believe that it was spirits changing their voices. I don't think there was as many, but they were trying to mess with us, and so we did capture a lot of things there.
So I have a
That's
question
really
for you, Michael.
Sure.
Now we know there's a spirit world, but
Oh
there's
yeah.
also the demonic world.
Yeah.
So, you're not always necessarily dealing with a ghost. You could be dealing with a demonic entity. How do you decipher that, or is there any way, in your opinion?
Well, it's a good question because the story I was just telling you about this family, she told me, of course, in my interview, she said that there is a grim reaper in the backyard by the back tool shed. And so I stay very neutral. When people give me information, I just keep it and tuck it in and document it. And so I'm one that I really have to have evidence to say that this is either something real or not. And so I did go back to that shed towards the end of the night before we left, and I just and it said that that entity was bothering the 8-year-old daughter, and so I went back there and just did my normal thing. I stayed real quiet and just asked a few questions, and upon review, I got a voice that was saying the girl's name, and this is how it said it. It said, Kaya. And it scared the crap out of me. And not because it was a crazy recording, but that I realized that this little girl was being affected by this really mean entity. I don't know if it was demonic. It sounded demonic. I have never gotten a recording like that since. And do I believe in the darker side and spirits and all that? Sure. I do believe in good and evil. But I do not focus on it, and I do not try to ever connect with darker stuff and spirits, demons, unhuman spirits and things like that. It's just not my focus. So I kind of ignore them. If they are there, I ignore them. And but that's my thing. Everybody has their own thing. So
Yeah.
Thanks for your answer.
Yeah. I'm kind of curious how many times, like, I know a lot of people, the first thing they go to is demonic hauntings because they're afraid of it. They don't trust it. It's something that they're not familiar with. So, how often in times where you think you went in to investigate something that might be a little bit more demonic, was it actually demonic, or did you find that it's less common than what people realize?
well, in all my years of doing this, and I've done many, many cases, I've only come across a few that I believe were just really mean, bad spirits. I don't believe they were demonic. I believe that they were assholes in this world, and so if you're asshole here, you're going to be an asshole there. And and I do believe that I was, recording mean spirits. I don't think I've ever come across the demonic spirit in all my years, and I've been doing this a long time. So, but maybe they don't like me, maybe they stay away from me. Yeah, I don't ever tell anybody, "Oh no, this doesn't exist," because how do I really know? I have not had those experiences, and I'm not interested in them either. I like good spirits, and I'm a good spirit, and so I like to connect with good spirits. And all the other thrill seekers that are out there in this world in the paranormal field, they can have at it, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I used to go around chasing what people thought were demons just to try to see if it was actually demons because I had experienced one in my youth and I knew what they were like. And so I found a lot of times it's not really a demon. I think probably only 2 to 3 times was it could have been possibly a demon. Um,
Right.
but yeah, it can get pretty dark when you are messing with one, when not messing with them, but going in and try to research and talk with them and stuff. It can get pretty frightening.
Yeah, I totally believe it, and I believe your experiences, but I don't focus on it because like I said, there's other people that they love that, and that's their thing, and they get off on the demon chasers. Me, not so much. To me, they're boring to me. I'd rather talk to interesting spirits that have a good message, and I love history, so I love to go to historical places and see if I can connect with the spirits from those locations. Like I've been to Mount Vernon, I've been to Monticello. I love to go to historical places and see if I can connect with anybody from that era, and that's my thing. That's why I have the Heritage Hunters. Is for
Yeah.
that. It's not for demons. Demons are not allowed. Sorry.
I like that. I like that you kind of already know the history when you're going to these sort of historical locations going in, but you do kind of work residential cases, it sounds like, as well.
Not anymore. Not so much. I did for many years, and I helped a lot of families. And like I said, I'm really good at being able to document what's there. That's my niche. If they think that they have spirits, I can go in, and if they really do, I can get some good recordings. But I always make sure that they're not there because I do believe that they can affect the spirits that are in their homes and maybe stay by their side and not want to talk to us. So if I make the family leave, they have to kind of communicate with us more. And we're really good at what we do as far as believing in spirits and believing that they're there. And I think that helps them feel more comfortable to communicate with us. So that's important. But yeah,
Yeah, you're
What's
right.
your
I actually have found that having the family in there can actually negatively impact the investigation.
always, yeah, definitely. And what I'll do is I'll do maybe 2 hours at a location, and then I'll let them come back and fill maybe the last 30 minutes. We'll let them sit in and ask their questions, just so we can see if we do get different responses, um, from what we've got versus when they come back in.
Good
I
idea.
always like to do that. So, and that has helped.
what's your opinion on
Yeah.
attachment, both demonic and spiritual? Is it
Um, I think it's more physical. More, I don't bring any religion into what I do. Um, I just don't. I do have ordained ministers and different things like that. So if we've had some cases that we need some help, we can always contact our friend who's ordained minister and take it in that area. But I don't bring anything spiritual into what I do. I'm the gear guy, so I love to capture what's possibly there. I don't use the word belief in my work at all. Mine is all based on evidence and experiences during captures of things. So, so that's my look at it.
Can a ghost attach to you? Can a ghost attach to people?
Definitely. Yeah. I've had 2 attachments that I actually brought home. One, I believe, was a child, because when I woke up the next morning, standing in the doorway of my bedroom, I saw a 3-foot figure that was pure black. And I knew exactly what it was. So the first thing I did is start yelling and screaming that I had to leave. And definitely, I do believe that you can. But I think it's very rare. Very rare. And then there's other types of attachments that we get in our lives that are more spirit guide and different things like that. I've had so many people tell me over the years that I have a lot of attachments, maybe 6 or 7 attachments. And then it's funny, the case that I was telling you about with the family, that had all those things going on. When I was leaving the first time with them, and we were saying goodbye at the door with my team was leaving, they started looking over my head and started freaking out. And I was like, well, what's the matter? Like, Michael, you have like 5 or 6, looks like lightning bugs are flying over your head and they're glowing. And I was like, what? And they could see it. And I was like, wow. So, and then I had somebody else tell me that same thing in a different location, maybe a year later. So I do believe that we get attachments, or our loved ones are attached to us in some way, spirit-wise, and sometimes they can help us, and maybe they do help me on some investigations to connect with spirits more. So I don't know if other people have experienced that, but I have.
That's pretty interesting. I actually do you think that your family members can attach? Do you think that can happen generationally? Like say a great 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 grandpa from one side of your family just follows and connects to each person down the line. Do you think that's possible?
I think it's possible. I
Yeah.
have no proof of it, but like I said, I had these family members that saw this, and then they actually did send me a picture, which I don't know where it is now, but they actually took a photo of me as I was leaving, and it had these what looked to me like lightning bugs, but they weren't lightning bugs flying over my head. So once I saw that, that really put me on a path about attachments, and to me, it was good attachments. It wasn't anything bad. I've really never had anything bad other than that spirit following me home, which I'd made it leave. Because we always do when we leave a case, we always say, look, we're leaving. Thanks for having us. You need to stay here. You can't come home with us. Because I do believe if you don't do that, sometimes they can follow you home. And I've had other investigators I work with, had one that came home and didn't leave him for a month. And he was kind of freaking out because, and he was a retired police officer. And
Uh-huh.
he lived by himself, and he knew that he was not alone in the house. And it took him several weeks to get rid of that attachment. So yeah, I do believe in it totally.
Yeah. Have you noticed as far as attachments goes, when you go to a haunted location and then you leave a haunted location, over the years of my research, I've noticed that there's almost like a rubber band effect with these spirits that follow you home from these locations. Like they can't stay for too long. It's like they're rubber band back. They're sprung back to where they came from. And I always
Right?
tell people, between 2 weeks to a month, they're typically gone again and they're back where they started from. Have you noticed that, or have you seen cases of attachment that just won't leave, won't go away?
Um, I've been lucky. I haven't had that experience that much, which is good because you know what? We all have regular lives, we have regular jobs, and we have enough stress in our life that we don't need additional stress from ghosts, messing with our daily schedule. So I haven't, but I'm sure many people have. But me, I'm not afraid of any spirits, and I do believe maybe people or maybe investigators that are scared of things, and these attachments follow them home. I believe that their energy of being scared is an attraction, or it helps the spirit um, stay connected with them. So, that's what I believe. How
Yeah.
about you guys? Have you had any attachments that followed you home that you couldn't get rid of?
Chad, have you?
Been able to get rid of all of them, but yeah, I have. I've had things that have attached to me, and yeah, I didn't like it.
No. What was your main what was the main thing they were doing to you? Just
Just
well,
making themselves known,
right.
tipping objects over, like cereal boxes, brooms leaning on a wall. I turn and look at it, and then I'm really sensitive. I can sense, like you say, when you're not alone.
Right.
And so, yeah.
Mm.
I think the
And
fear factor has a lot to do with it too.
I have a fear of standing next to ledge, like on the edges of buildings or on the edge of a cliff. I have a fear of that because I have been like physically hit by some type of entity or ghost or whatever. So
Yeah.
I have a fear of standing close to a ledge to
Yeah, I do
where,
too. I've had some experiences similar to that. Um, and as you do this for a long time and you have these experiences, like I was doing Fort Macon here in North Carolina, and Fort Macon is a fort, a Civil War fort that's sunk in the ground. And so when you're standing up at the top edge, you can drop 50 to 75 feet. And while we were investigating through the night, I would not go up on those higher edges. I'm like, I'm not going up there because somebody's going to shove me. I'm the Yankee, and I'm here down in the south because they're going to throw me over that edge, and so I would not go up there because of that same exact reason that you fear. And I'm just being smart. I'm in the construction industry, so I know about heights and things like that, and I'm like, yeah, not me. I'm not going up there. Hell no.
no, me
Bob
too.
has a
I'm in
question.
construction.
Yeah, you guys both know, stay away from the ledges.
Oh yeah.
Bob has a question for you, Michael.
Hey,
He
Bob.
asked, what do you experience more, residual hauntings or intelligent hauntings?
Great question, Bob. 95% of what I've captured and what I experience is intelligent. I have very few residuals. I do have a few um, over the years, but mine is intelligent because, like, I'll go into a location. I always introduce myself, and one time I'll say, "All right, hi, I'm Mike," and then the next time I'll go in, I'll say, "Hi, I'm Michael," and I'll get recordings saying Mike or Michael. So they are definitely listening to what I'm saying. Sometimes I'll use a different name. I'll just make up a name and want them to use my real name to see if I actually get them to say that name, and I have captured those names. So they're intelligent. And like I said, and then there's other people I know that 95% of what they get is residual. So I think it comes down to your vibration. What kind of vibration are you putting out as an investigator and as a person, human being, to connect with the spirits? I think that has a lot to do with
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Depends on also which locations you're going to. And it's very easy to pick up on whether something is residual or intelligent. It's very easy.
it. Right.
Obviously, intelligent will interact with you, residual will not, and it'll repeat. And a lot of times you can even tell just by talking to, whoever's building it is, or if it's a residence, if they
Yep.
say that the same things keep happening. Residual hauntings, they might be fun to research, but you don't get as much interaction. So it can get kind of dull.
Yeah, I don't believe it's a spirit. I believe it's something that's trapped in time, like a cassette recorder, and it's just playing over and over. So I don't believe it's an actual spirit. It's a clip or a scene out of a spiritual person, but it's not somebody communicating with you. So it's totally different than the intelligent.
Right. Right. Chad, before we move on, do you have any more questions? Because I kind of want to play some of these EVP recordings he sent us.
Play away.
All right. So, when I transfer these over, the titles of them did not transfer well. So I'm gonna play it. I'm gonna let you listen to it, and then you tell us kind of where you were and what was going on in that recording.
Okay, sounds
So
good.
I'm gonna play your first one right now.
My name is Michael. What is your name?
Okay. You're all going to like this one. This is from the Edgar Allan Poe Museum in Richmond, Virginia. And I was up there. A friend of mine is an international musician. She was actually performing that weekend. So I went up to film her. And during the day, I always have to Google what's in the area as far as historical stuff. And I saw the Poe Museum. I said, oh, I got to go to the Poe Museum. So I went. There weren't a lot of people there, and there were several different buildings. And so basically, it was a lot of his artifacts, his childhood bed. Even when they were tearing down the home that he was born in, they took the stairs out of that building and they brought it over to this museum and they put the stairs in this other building. So when you were going up those stairs, you were actually going up the stairs of Edgar Allan Poe. And so I was in the bedroom where his stuff was, and I said to myself, I said, I'm Michael with the Heritage Hunters. And I said, what's your name? And you hear, Poe, I'm Heritage. So he was saying his name, and then he was saying my name. He must have thought my name was Heritage. So if you play it again, you'll hear it.
Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah, I'm gonna play it again. I'll play it a couple times through.
My name is Michael. What is your name? My name is Michael. What is your name?
That's cool.
Isn't
That's
that cool?
cool. And that location, that is the coolest location ever.
Yes, yes. I can't wait to go back. I'm going to go back maybe next month. I think she's actually coming back. She's from Wisconsin, and she's coming back to play Richmond. So I think I'm going to go back and round two.
Yeah. Yes, I definitely. I'd love to go to a very historical place like that. I tend to end up doing a lot of more like going to abandoned places and things like that where you have to really dig deep for the history. I
Yeah.
haven't got to frequent very historical places like that, so I'd like to do that.
Well, come east.
Bob does have a
We'll go
question.
to
Yes.
We
Yes,
could
exactly.
probably make that happen, Michael.
do it. Let's go.
I would
Gettysburg is
love
waiting.
that so much. Yeah, me and Michael have been talking about trying to get together to research for a while, and our
Yeah.
schedules just haven't met up well. But we need to get on that because I'd love to get researching with you.
Oh yeah, I think
Sure.
we'd be blessed. I think we'd get a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, we would. I think our investigative styles are very, very similar as well. So I think that we would, you know, bang off each other pretty well. But Bob has a question for you. If you go to a historical place like Gettysburg,
Right.
what type of haunting experience do you expect?
Do I expect? That's a great question. I go in any place I go to, even Gettysburg. I go in very blank. I don't like to get a lot of the information of the hauntings themselves. I love the history end of it, but I don't like to hear the claims of what people have seen because I don't want to put it in my head as I go in, and I stay really blank, like a blank slate. I just stay very quiet and calm, and I set up all my equipment. So I don't bring in any expectations. I just because I feel that the spirits can sense, they can read us really well, as far as our intent and different things like that. So I like to just go in really mellow. I work in the service industry for the last 40 years, so I'm used to going into people's homes every day and making strangers feel comfortable. So I do believe that has a lot to do with what I do in the paranormal. And I just go in real quietly, no matter where I am, either historical places, Gettysburg, and different places, and just and I think that they pick up on that and want to communicate with me more and tell me more things. So I think it helps me a lot.
Yeah, so kind of go in with a blank slate and don't expect anything then.
Yes.
That's
Just
kind of cool. I like that.
yeah,
It leaves the door open for a more unique experience for sure.
yeah, and plus, and the number one thing that a lot of investigators don't do is they don't stay quiet. They talk too much, They ask too many questions. They ask the same questions over and over. And if you think about it, if you're the spirit, you're going to get really pissed off if, say, you're at the Jenny Wade house and, I don't know, 300 people that day came in as investigators and asked the same question over and over. Are you going to even want to respond to them? Probably not, you know. So I know I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Now, you hear these stories, Michael, about people that buy older houses that are haunted and they do remodeling, and the crap hits the fan because the spirits don't like it. What's your opinion on that? And also, what if the place is haunted and the house is like torn down? Where do those spirits go? Do they remain there? They move on elsewhere?
Right. Great question. I actually work in historical homes for a living as a contractor. And so I've had a lot of experiences with the paranormal while I'm working in these homes, doing different repairs or renovations, things like that. So I have a good experience with that. I also own a very small little farm in eastern Tennessee. And when I was actually looking at it back in 2006, didn't even own it yet. I walked around, just took a few pictures and thought about if I wanted to buy it or not, and went home and downloaded the pictures. And when I saw the pictures, there was apparitions in the photos, and I was blown away. I was like, "Oh wow!" So, I've purchased it, and I've owned it all these years, and it is very active. And when I do, for me, things can happen anytime. It doesn't have to be construction related. But when people do renovate, yeah, I do believe sometimes if the spirit doesn't like it, they will let their feelings known to whoever, So
That's really cool. I want to play another one. This one, I think this is the one I was really excited to hear the story about because it's very interesting. So I'm gonna play it and then I'll let you talk about it, and then we'll play it a couple more times.
Just look,
Look
at the wall.
It's probably dead.
Just look, just look, just look,
yeah, that's a crazy one. That's actually a ghost saying the word ghost to us as we were investigating our early 1700s tavern here in North Carolina. And the building was such bad shape. You talk about going to abandoned places. Well, this was kind of abandoned. The owner still owned it, but this building was falling down to the point where I didn't even want to go in it. Being in the construction field, I was like, I don't know. And so we went in and we were going up the stairs, and the stairs were about ready to collapse as we were going up. And we went to this area that was the inn part where most of the travelers, the men would sleep up there. And so we were up there, me and two other investigators, and their meter started going off. And I don't use meters a lot, but it's really good for certain, picking up on certain energies, especially if you know there's no electricity in the building. So just as their meter was going off and they were commenting, this voice popped in and was saying ghosts. And it almost was to the point where he must have sensed that we were looking for ghosts, and he got scared about ghosts. And meanwhile, he's a ghost.
That's funny. That begs the question: do you think most ghosts don't even realize that they're dead?
Oh, definitely. I have recordings from Gettysburg where we're at a very historical farm that was right in the path of the battle. It's called the Rose Farm. And we were out there recording one night. It was actually on Halloween night. It's just me and a good friend of mine, Danny Corley. And we were recording, and we got a ghost saying, "Am I dead? Am I dead?"
Wow.
And so we've had several recordings. So yeah, I do believe that some spirits don't know, or maybe many don't know. I do believe that also ghosts live in their own realm, and I do believe that realm is right here. It's not up in the sky. It's not down below. I believe it's right here in a different dimension, and I believe they're in their time, and we're in our time. And when our vibrations meet, or line up, that's when we'll have an experience, or maybe we'll visually see them. So that's what I believe.
Almost like a layer between the fold.
Yes, there you go. That damn fold.
Becomes a full mystery. I'm gonna play let it loop a couple times so that everybody can hear it one more time, and then we'll get to Bob's question here.
Just look.
Brothers,
Look at the wall.
That's probably them.
Just look.
Brothers,
Just look.
brothers,
Just look.
brothers,
Just look.
brothers.
Look at the wall.
That's probably them.
Just look.
Brothers,
Just look.
brothers,
Just look.
brothers.
That's so neat. That is so neat. It is. He's saying ghosts.
No, he's
That's
saying
cool.
Yeah.
I have
That
a
is
I have a
wild.
question for you, real quick, Michael. We were at the Chestnut House in Kentucky. I don't know if you're familiar with it.
Yeah.
It's a haunted place, but the weirdest thing was the front porch lights, one on each side of the door, would go on, and turn off, but only on when you looked at it through your cell phone camera. When you looked at it with your naked eye, they stayed on, but when they were on the cell phone camera, they would go off and on, and that was the only way you could see them going off and on, like repeatedly, like all day long. They go off and on the cell phone camera, but they stay on to the naked eye. What's your opinion on that?
It's interesting. With cameras and video stuff, you have to be so careful because it could be some kind of malfunction. Did it happen on many?
Every camera, it doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't matter whose cell phone. All of our cell phones that would do it.
That's
Wow.
interesting because I do believe, and I like when I experiment with different techniques and things that I kind of come up with. I love to use different equipment for things, and I do believe cameras are really intriguing. I'll use a lot of audio. Like I'll take a walkie-talkie and I'll put it in a room far away from us, and I'll put it right next to a recorder, and then I'll be maybe 2 or 3 rooms over, and I'll start asking questions through the walkie-talkie because spirits are energy and they can use electronics. So I figure, let me see if I can try to connect with a spirit through the airwaves. And so simple things. These are not things that, are Einstein or anything, but and cameras too. There's a lot of things you can try with cameras. So it's always intriguing when you have that kind of experience. I had that happen. I was at the Moses Cone House, which is here in North Carolina, second largest home in North Carolina, and there was a portrait of the husband and wife, over the fireplace, and I would take pictures, and every time I would take pictures through the camera, I'd see both of them have red eyes, and 1 out of maybe 10 pictures, I got the red eyes in my photo. And yeah, I know the cameras have all kinds of eye detectors and things like that nowadays, but to capture it on a photo, and it's just a painting, so it's not like a real eyeball.
That's
How did I
wild.
get that? How did I get that? Both of them had red eyes, and it really was kind of creepy to.
That's
And
wild.
they are known to haunt the location. So I thought that was interesting. But it was like every other picture I got, I'd say, oh, it's a malfunction. But to just get it in 1 photo out of 10, I thought that was interesting.
Yeah, that's super interesting.
Yeah. And I
Almost
didn't
like
move.
they
I
were like
just
real
10
eyes.
shots in a row. Yeah, I didn't move. I just kept taking it, and I kept seeing it. I'm going, what the hell is this?
Whoa.
Yeah, crazy. Yeah, definitely.
That
Crazy.
is crazy. Where was this at?
That's the Moses Cone House in Boone, North Carolina, and anybody
Okay.
can go there and visit. It's a beautiful mansion. It's the second largest home. The first is the Vanderbilt Biltmore here in North Carolina, and this is the second largest one. And now it's an art retreat. So when the family had passed away in the will, when the wife had passed away, she wanted to donate it because she didn't want the house to be sold to regular people. And so she donated it to the forest, the Park Service of North Carolina, and they made it into an art museum and a place for all artists to sell their different, products and artwork. And so now it's an art center, which is really cool.
Wow, that is neat. That is really neat. I did want to ask Bob's question before we move on too far. He asked, would you like to go to a place like Serpent Mound here in Ohio? Or for that, I'm going to add to his question, for that matter, any effigy mound, really.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's fascinating to me, and I would love to go there and see what I could capture, see what kind of energy that I could get there. and just I'm sure that there's spirits all around there. Especially,
Yeah.
yeah. Are they the ones that are? Because I just recently learned about that there are pyramids here in North Carolina. Is that part of those locations?
Oh, and like mounds.
Well, the
Yes.
mountain
So
one,
like,
I've actually heard that there's actually pyramids similar to what's in Egypt here in
oh
in, uh,
wow.
in the United
I
States,
don't know
west by
about
you.
any pyramids at
Yeah,
locations, but I've heard that there are
yeah,
pyramids in the US. I'm not
yeah,
sure where the locations are, but I
yeah. It's
would
out
love
Midwest, out
to
there.
go.
Yeah, closer to you. Yeah, see, there's a location for you. But if
Oh
you Google, I
man, that
Googled it
may be
recently, and I
so
did see
cool.
some photos, and I was like, wow. I said, I never knew that we had pyramids here.
Yeah, can
But
you repeat that? I didn't quite hear you.
yeah, yeah. I just recently had Googled that, and I did see that there are some pyramids here in the United States, and so that's definitely a location you should definitely go check
Yeah.
out.
Can you
Now I have a
imagine
question.
talking to a spirit that old?
Oh yeah.
So, do you believe that if somebody dies in the hospital or in their home, are they, is there one, if they die in their home, are they more likely to be there haunting it? Say haunting it, but it'd be there in spirit, ghost form? Or do you believe, like, if they die in a tragic car accident 5 states away, that they can still haunt their house?
Think there's multiple answers to that, and just like we're all different personalities, I think
Mm-hmm.
uh, different people's personalities, beliefs. People that are more religious, they want to go to Jesus, and so they go to Jesus, and they go to wherever that realm is that's more peaceful for them. And other spirits love their homes and they love to stay around. Other ones, like we said, don't know that they're dead and that they're still in their homes, living their lives in their realm. So I think it's multiple answers, and I don't believe that there's one solid answer.
Yeah, I could agree with that. There's a ton of answers to that question,
Yeah,
and a
yeah,
lot of it falls into what religion you're looking at as well.
yeah. And then there's people that aren't religious, and it just there's so many facts. That's what I love about the paranormal, and it's not just ghosts. Like you said, it's a Bigfoot, and it's all these other things. It's to me supernatural. Which so many people say, well, it's not supernatural, it's natural. I'm like, no, to me it's supernatural because I find it so fascinating, and
Yeah,
I do believe that there's so many creatures that we've never even discovered yet out there in this world that people just it's fascinating. It's all fascinating, man.
yeah, I agree. Absolutely. We're gonna get on to your third EVP here. I'm gonna play it and then let you explain it.
Yeah, that one's a little bit hard to hear through whatever we've done to it. But I just recently did an antique store that was having a lot of activity, and they asked me to come in and see what I can capture. And we did get a lot of things. We had gone back twice, and that was I put a recorder in the back of the building. This location had 6 buildings that were all connected over the years, and the original one was an original stagecoach for the area. So you had spirits from that realm, and then you had, as the businesses went, it was a tavern, it was a funeral home, it was a gas station. So we captured different things in different rooms. That's a little girl actually talking, and I think she was talking about us because she was saying they just don't understand. And then she went on and on and on, and then she said, "Okay, bye." But through this quality, it's not that good. If anybody wants to listen to it better, put on some earbuds, and you should be able to hear it better if you replay it. But yeah, go ahead
Yeah,
and
we'll
try.
replay it a couple times, and then if they want to listen back to the show, they can try to listen to it with
Very,
some earbuds
very
in.
vocal. Whoever she's talking to, it's interesting.
Yeah. So that's a good one. I
They just
really
don't
like
get
that
it.
one.
That's
It's
the
too
first thing
bad
she
that you
says.
can't hear it too
Yeah.
well. We're
I
gonna
want
go
your
on to
opinion.
the fourth one. Oh, go ahead.
Um, Now, haunted objects, which is semi-controversial. There's a chair that everybody that sat in pretty much has died. There's that doll that the caretaker of it, that just died. What is your opinion on objects, dolls, furniture, things like that, actually being haunted?
Well, I don't know so much that they're haunted. I do believe that energy and different materials like wood and things can actually trap energy. I was in my last episode of Tom Dooley, which you can watch on my YouTube channel, which is a lovers triangle murder mystery here in North Carolina. Um, we were in the jail where he was being held on trial, and there was an old spinning wheel that was upstairs in the second part of the home. And I have an old radio that I use. It was an old CB radio when I was 12 years old. And I don't know how I saved it all these years, but I did. And then I eventually put some batteries in it. I couldn't believe it worked. And it would not pick up any kind of radio transmissions anymore, like, CB ears or anything. But what I found out was it could pick up on energy. Like when I took my camera and I shot a picture next to the antenna with the flash, when the flash would go off, the radio would arc. So I was like, oh my God, this thing can pick up on like all kinds of energy. So I use it all the time now, and it has a long antenna, which I just walk around, and I went to this spinning wheel that was 100% wood. There was no metal on it, and I touched it, and this radio started arcing like crazy. And so I was like, wow. I said, there's some kind of attachment or energy that's on this spinning wheel. So, and I use it all in different locations all the time. And
That's
yeah,
neat.
I do believe. And I've had some EVPs from dolls, which I know people get freaked out and all this. But you have to remember that in the paranormal field, Hollywood has done such a disservice to our field because they've made up so much bullshit and all these demon shit and made all these movies all these years that scare people. And then, of course, nowadays with TikTok and every other social media, now everybody and their brother is making all these stupid clips on fake stuff that, dolls and Annabelle and all this junk. But I did get a good recording from a group of little dolls in Pennsylvania at a friend's. They have a beautiful historical inn, and I was staying there over the weekend. And it was just me and them. They were upstairs sleeping. And I put the recorder in the living room, and I was walking by, and I got a recording right next to the dolls saying something to me, kind of rude. But is it coming from the dolls? I don't know. The house was known to have a lot of spirits anyway. So I just thought it was interesting that I got it close to the dolls. I've never had any bad or crazy experiences from dolls. So I don't
Yeah.
really know. And people bring stuff home. And I brought stuff home, like, different. I love antiques and things like that. I've never had any experiences like that. But maybe if
Yeah.
a spirit is attached to something I loved, say they love the jewelry box or something, and you now own it, maybe the spirit is hanging out with it and, seeing who's going to take care of it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It is interesting what types of objects seem to carry some sort of energy with them. It is
Yeah.
interesting because sometimes it can be just a little knick-knack, and it's like, why this? Why this of all things? Didn't you have anything more you treasure? It's
Yeah.
interesting. It's kind of a mystery why they attach to certain things over others.
Yeah.
Um,
And then there's big furniture and armoires and stuff like that. And then, of course, if you see The Conjuring and you watch this fiasco, you'll see the furniture and different things. And to me, I just, I go based on what I've experienced in all these years, and it hasn't been anything to do with furniture. And look at all the people that made these great shows on all these haunted collection things, and they have their little museums for stuff. And hey, if that's what you're into and that's what floats your boat, go for it. But as real investigators, many of us don't believe in that. And so,
yeah, I do have a haunted collection, and it's just stuff that I've collected over the years that people believe that something's attached to it, or I've thought maybe something was attached to it that I just didn't have the heart to get rid of because if something is attached to it, I don't know whose hands it's going to fall into. So I have a haunted collection of tools. and there are some things that I have had to pack into storage because it seems like there's some very heavy or dark energy. Um,
Right.
it's a home. I can't really have that at home, so I have a
Well,
noted
that's good that you have that experience, and so you can base your experiences on that. That's important because that's what I believe as investigators. We have to have these good experience or bad experiences, so we can actually share this knowledge. I think that's
Mm,
important. But me personally, no, and I have all kinds of antiques. I love antiques, but so
yeah,
for me, no, I haven't had a lot of experiences with that. But not to say that
interesting.
people haven't, you know.
Yeah.
Do you know what chair I'm talking about? People would
Yeah.
challenge it and sit in it. They ended up having to hang it up on a wall so people wouldn't sit in it. Have you heard about that chair? I'm trying to think of the name of it,
No, I haven't.
but
Yeah,
pretty
I don't
much
know the name of the chair.
everybody that's ever sat in it has died.
Well, we're all gonna die, so
No, like right after.
see, that's something that should be researched by
Yeah.
good investigators, real investigators, not TikTok stars and
Mhm.
folks like that. You know, real
Or
investigators that are out there in this world
or
should
TV
investigate.
appearance, TV
Yeah,
people.
yeah,
That's a
TV personalities, paranormal
yeah,
celebrities. There you go.
Mhm.
yeah.
I've met a lot of them, and I've worked with some of them. And some of them are really nice people, and they're really down to earth, and they're not into the bullshit. And then there's other ones that are total fakes and phonies. So
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
it depends on who you want to be, I guess.
If you make it on network TV, you can't be you. That you're controlled
Yeah,
in every field, whether it be Bigfoot,
Yeah,
ghosts, whatever. You're controlled. The
yeah,
network will
hard.
only let so much out there. If Finding Bigfoot found a Bigfoot, they would never show it.
no,
Well, they did have some pretty crazy stuff that they say that wasn't shown because it was too compelling, I guess, and not mysterious enough. Broke the mystery, I guess. But I did want to get Bigfoot Bob Recon, Bigfoot Recon. Wanted to know what's your feelings about Waverly Hills?
I think it's interesting. I have not been there, and I'm not interested in going there because I really don't like going to what I call paranormal tourist spots. And these are the places that every week somebody in the paranormal is going to. My niche, my biggest niche, is going to locations that have never been investigated and seeing what I can capture for the owners and things like
Mhm.
that. So that's my fascination. And I do really well with finding locations that have never had anybody come in before, and that's what I like. So, you know, if that's what you're into and that's what you like, go for it. That's great. But I do feel the history of Waverly Hills is fascinating, and I have done some. I've done some smaller locations that were asylums and things like that, and did get a few things, but really didn't get a lot of activity. And then other people go and they're like, "Oh my God, there's demons there. There's this." I'm like, "Okay, whatever." So I guess I was there on the non-demon night, you
I
know.
have noticed that they what we call us researchers call the pay to play places,
Oh yeah,
um,
yeah,
like Waverly Hills and other places like that. I think they're great to test, new equipment in and stuff like that.
yeah,
But as far as getting a real unique experience, like you said, go to places that aren't investigated very often at all. And I
right.
do also find in these pay to play places that your experience and your evidence that you gather there can heavily depend on the people that was there prior to you and the energy that was fed in that to location.
Definitely, I believe that too, and that's why I call them these paranormal tourist spots because you know, go find the locations that are, you know. That's why I love historical places that are not branded as haunted, but of course I know that the spirits are there. And so to me, it's more fascinating to go and like I always said, the history and the paranormal go hand in hand, and that's true. And I like to mix the history with the two because paranormal is great, but I want to learn the actual, you know, their past and what how they lived and you know how they treated their indentured slaves or things like that. You know, it's all part of history. So, um,
Right.
but you know. everybody has to. And now, like when I first started with the paranormal, we just got our first computers, and that was like my first one was 1996, and it was dial up, and there was you couldn't even download a picture, back then. And we had these stupid little chat rooms that you would just have a little title, and you'd see some fake names of people that made up their dumb little names, and would just sit there and talk to each other. And that's how I saw how the paranormal first started, with a few hundred groups in the area. Now, I couldn't even tell you how many groups out there in this world.
Oh,
Um,
yeah.
I think that I hate to say it, but about 90% I wish they'd go away, but it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. I
okay.
do
Everybody
want
has
to
to
get
do
to more of
do
your
everything.
EVPs
Yeah.
too, because you have some really good ones in here. I don't want to miss out on any of them. I have
Thank you.
6 altogether, and I'm pretty sure I didn't play this one, but correct me if I'm wrong. But I'm gonna play it now.
That's strange. I thought the little 71 bass all the way. That's strange. I thought the little breezy on the corner 71 bass all the way. That's strange.
I did feel a breeze.
This is a great one. This is at the Lake Lore Inn in Lake Lore, North Carolina, and this hotel was very famous because this is where they filmed the movie Dirty Dancing, and they used two different hotels. One was over the border in Virginia, which they did about 80% of the filming there, but most of the cast stayed at the Lake Lore Inn, and it's always been known to be haunted. And so we went to investigate. And the room that we were in, 218 and 217, used to be the bridal suite. And of course, this hotel had a story about, that a bride had fallen down the stairs and died, like many of these other locations. But they did say that people would hear a woman screaming in this room. So of course we went in there and we did a small session. And just as we were recording, my good friend John, who's my other investigator with Heritage Hunters, said he felt a breeze go by him. And this was in a small room. There's no windows open, no air conditioning. And just as he said it, you heard this loud pitched scream. And it's so high pitched that I couldn't believe it. And that's why I slowed it down a little bit so you could hear a little better. So if you want to play it again.
Yeah, that's wild. Yeah, this is one of the good ones. I love this. All right.
Yeah.
That's strange. I thought the little 71 bass all the way. That's strange. I thought the little breezy on the corner 71 bass all the way. That's strange.
I did feel a breeze.
That's so cool.
It's crazy.
That is neat.
And what's really interesting about that is, so I captured that recording, he captured it on his audio, and we had like 2 or 3 other people standing there with recorders, and not one of them captured that on their recorder.
Wow, that is neat. That's pretty
Yeah, that's
unique to
crazy.
get it on multiple recorders.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That's
And
neat.
I even sent that recording, before I sent it to anybody, I said, what did you get in that room? They're like, we didn't get anything. I'm like, you're standing right next to me. Did you get anything? Like, nope. And then I sent it to them. They're like, holy crap. Wow. And they were blown away.
That is cool.
Very,
That's
yeah,
neat.
yeah.
We have a little, it's a little short 8-second one, but I'll play it real fast.
Did that say what I thought it said?
Yep.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Oh, it's good. This is a Nicholson Sneed House in Virginia, by Abington, Virginia, and it has seen this American Revolution. It's seen the Civil War go through right in front of their doorsteps, and it's now an Airbnb that you can rent and stay over the weekend and investigate. And so I was in the parlor by myself. 2 or 3 other people were. It's a huge house, so we all spread out. And I was in there, and then this recording says, "Get the fuck out." And so I was like, wow, I said, I guess they didn't want me there.
You can hear that clear as day. I'll play it again. Very
Yeah.
naughty ghosts. Very naughty.
And what's really interesting is the next EVP I got right after that was a different voice, and it said, "We like you." I was like, "Wow!" This one's telling me to get the fuck out, and this one's saying, "We like you." I was like, "Okay." That's why I
Mixed
love
feelings there.
EVPs. You gotta love them. Yeah, it's just crazy.
That's cool. I'm gonna play another one. This one's 9 seconds.
Anybody in here with me? Please tell me your name.
This one's interesting. I need help with everybody that's listening. This was actually at the Nicholson-Steen's house as well, and this was in one of the other bedrooms. And I was sitting there quietly by myself, just doing my thing, introducing myself. And then I got this really clear voice, but I still can't figure out what he's saying. So if you play it again, maybe everybody can help and see what they think in the comments.
Yeah, I'll play it a couple times.
Anybody in here with me? Please tell me your name. Anybody in here with me? Please tell me your name.
I'll be curious to see what the comments think of that. See what the chat thinks. Maybe
Yeah,
they can give you their ideas on it.
it's something really clear, but I have no idea what he's saying.
Right. Yeah, it's very interesting. I'll play. This is your last one that I was able to get on here, and you can tell us about it.
This is a great one. This is from Gettysburg, and there's a place called the David Stewart Farm that is a 100-acre farm that you can stay at. She will let you investigate if you stay overnight, no extra fees. And so we were investigating all night, had a great time, and then we were shot. We were going to bed. And so I took my recorder and I put it in the hallway, and there's only 2 bedrooms upstairs. That's all she rents out. And the one lady that was with us, she went to sleep in her room, and me and my buddy John went to sleep in our room, and I put that recorder out, and that's where you hear the voice saying, "Us and the ghosts." So there's another one saying ghosts, but listen to that again.
Okay. Doing too many things at once. Let's do it again. That's really interesting.
It says
Yeah,
ghost.
like that.
Last thing is ghost, right?
Ghost, yeah, and the ghosts, and the ghosts. And what's crazy is I love when I get recordings where I'm not there asking questions and there's nobody. And that's probably 4 o'clock in the morning. Everybody's sleeping. So, and we all closed our doors, and it was just a very small hallway up there.
So,
But that, yes.
how much time do you have to spend? Do you just like have it like speed it up and you look for hits where there's sound, or do you actually listen for all?
If it's 20 hours, I listen to 20 hours, and I listen intently. I have my own method of how. You would never be able to find those things if you were just looking at graphs, because sometimes you'll get a graph on Audacity and sometimes you won't. No, you have to do the legwork. And I'm the kind of person that if I start an investigation, I put my recorder on, and when I'm leaving, then I turn it off.
So Michael, what do you do during those 20 hours of listening when you're hearing nothing? And so what do you do while you got the headphones on and you're listening? What are you doing? You eating?
Well, first of all, a lot of my time, I'm not listening to nothing. I'm capturing a lot of things. So each time I get one, like I'll start and maybe 2 minutes in, I got one. And then an hour in, I get another one. And then, so it keeps you going. It really does. And if you have a good technique, you'll capture a lot of good stuff if you're at a really good location. That's important too, to go to these really good locations. But I have to break it up. Like some nights I work full time. I run my own business, and it's very physical. So I have to lock in time. All right, I could do 1 hour tonight, and so I'll listen 1 hour, and then I listen through Audacity. And what I love about Audacity is as I'm listening and I find something, I can highlight it, I can clip it, throw it in a file. And so I'm only reviewing once. And as I'm doing it, and I find stuff, I throw it in a file, and that's the best way to do it for me. And I will use earbuds only, and I will sometimes in quiet spots I'll crank it up, and I can find things that most other people don't find or miss. So, but
So
something like that.
it could take you a month to get through a whole 20-hour recording.
Well, I don't take a month. I'm pretty diligent at getting through it because I do so many cases. If I don't get it done, then I fall behind, and I've got so many other cases that, and then there's other stuff that I'll go back maybe to a case that's 2 or 3 years old, and I'll just go over stuff again. I'm like, holy crap, I found stuff 2 years old, that I missed, So yeah, you have to, as an audio guy, you really have to put in the time. And I will only do it in a quiet location. Like when I used to train the public, and I used to have a public group for teaching people how to investigate. And I would show them what I did and how I did it. And then I would take them on location, take them to the Battleship, North Carolina, take them to all these really great places that they could never get into. And then I'd say, okay, well, let me know what and maybe a month later, I would write it. I said, I never heard from anybody. Did you ever review? I'm like, oh, yeah, we did. And no, we didn't get nothing. I'm like, well, how are you reviewing? Well, I'm at work. So during the day, I'm just sitting there listening at work. I'm like, you can't listen like that. There's no way. If you're in an office setting, So you really have to be diligent on doing it. If you're a serious investigator, especially an audio guy, you really have to be dedicated to it. And I'd say 80% is not. And then there's that other 20% that's just like me. And I don't care if they just started last week or if they've been doing it for 40 years. There are really good people that are really good at it. And there's other people that suck at it. And they shouldn't even waste their time listening to audio, because if you're not going to really listen, what's the point? What's the point of doing it?
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's not for everybody. It's not.
I noticed, a lot of, whenever I get done with an investigation, and you collect up all your stuff, and you got all your SD cards and everything else, you sit there and you look at it, you're like, okay, now time for the hard work, because it's hard. It's very tedious work to sit there and listen to so many hours worth of stuff, and 20 hours worth of evidence can turn into 2 days worth of work, because like you said, you're stopping, you're listening, you're throwing the files, you're separating the file out, you're putting it somewhere, organizing it, and that's where a lot of for me, it's the harder work. I enjoy the research part of it.
Well, and that was the main reason I stopped. I used to use like 6 recorders. I was like, okay, I just did 10 hours. There's 60 hours of audio I have to listen to. I was like, I can't do this anymore. So now I'm down to 2 recorders, and I'll put one near me, and then I'll put one maybe in another room, which is in earshot of the other recorder, so I can listen if I capture something, what it sounds like from there to here. But yeah, I had to stop because I was like, this is insane. I can't do it. And the worst for me, and I love it, is video, but I cannot watch 2 minutes of video with my eyes not starting to close. And I'm like, video is the toughest. It is the hardest thing to watch. And I love thermal video. That's what I love to run, because I have caught some really good stuff with thermal video. And so that's more interesting because you're looking at colors and all kinds of smoky looking things. So it's different. But video, I'd say I stopped running a lot of, I used to have like 6 video cams on a hard drive. I stopped bringing it. I said, I'm not bringing this anymore. I'm not running these cams. I can't watch it. And it had no sound. So, a lot of those older cameras didn't have sound. So you talk about boring, and, one still shot for, 4 hours, how do you look at it? So yeah, it's the toughest thing, I think.
So Michael,
go ahead.
Have you ever actually heard them speak when you record them, or is it just picked up on recorder? Because like people sometimes claim they hear a ghost. Are they really hearing it, or is it like a mind speak and we can't pick it up, but the recorder can?
Oh no, I have good experiences where I've heard my name called, and I've heard, what I heard on the audio, I actually heard with my ears. It's rare, but I have experienced that. And sometimes you hear it one way, and then when you capture it on the recording, it's something totally different than what you heard with your ears. So you don't know if it's your mind screwing with you or hearing something, through your eardrums versus the audio. So it's interesting. But yes, I have had a lot of experiences where I've heard children and footsteps and things like what you guys have experienced. And to me, that's great because that's why it's so important to do audio, photographs, video, and personal experiences. That's all you need for the paranormal. You don't need any of these other gadgets. Take that stuff, throw it away. To me, you want real evidence. You want good, solid evidence. So
Yeah.
stop playing with the toys, wasting hundreds and hundreds of dollars on junk. They're all just basically meters, EMF meters that light up, or this one or that one. I experimented with all the stuff as it came out, the obelisks and all that. I bought one, and people don't realize that the obelisk, Bill Chappell designed that, and he put every word in it. It's got 1,048 words in it, and he handpicked every word that went into there. So if you use it long enough, you're just going to hear the voices, the names, and the different words over and over and over. So
Yeah.
is that a ghost? So I did an experiment one time. I built a little EMF pump with battery and a little magnetic fan in it, and I put it next to the obelisk, and the obelisk started spitting out every word. There's like gibberish, like every word that was in it. It just so it basically told me that it's just really an EMF meter with a vocabulary. And if you're a ghost, I always say, if you're a ghost, you die tomorrow, and you're next to the obelisk, could you handpick the words you want to use for people to hear? I don't think so.
Yeah, as a millennial, I tend to veer towards some of that other equipment, like you talk about the Ovilus and spirit boxes and things like that. And I mean, a lot of times there are situations where words will pop out or things that you'll hear things and it is just gibberish or it's nonsensical.
Right.
And you have to kind of train yourself not to pay attention to every single thing that
Oh
comes
yeah.
out of there.
Yeah.
And when it's responsive to your direct question once, that's great. But when it starts responding to your questions in a not one right after the other, that to me is evidence, and that's when you need to start
Yeah.
paying attention to it.
Yes.
I think that
And yeah.
investigators do make mistakes when they are paying attention to every single thing it says. You need to start
Right.
making sure that it's connecting to your question and it's more than once. So
Oh yes, definitely. And it's so
and
good.
actually,
Yeah. Go ahead.
yeah, go ahead.
It's so important to try these things as researchers, as investigators, as weekend warriors. It's very important to try these things when they first come out. Now I don't keep up with all the stuff because there's just so much junk that's out there. But when the Avos first came out, I actually purchased the first one ever designed. It's called the Paranormal Puck, and it was a small box that would plug into your laptop. And it was great because it would document everything. It would put it in files. And so we were at a conference, and I don't know if you know who Keith Age is, but he was a very famous paranormal investigator and on many shows years ago. And he was helping to promote the Paranormal Puck. And he had set up in a room, and one by one we could go in there and try it. And basically you would just type on the laptop, your questions, and then you would see what it said. And so we were in there and we tried it. Now this was just coming out at the time, and so I typed in, "Where is Jimmy?" And that was my brother who had passed away. And so it said, "He's in the waves casting." Okay, I'm like freaking out. I'm like, holy shit! My brother was fishing and he drowned in a lake, and so this said he is fishing and casting, and he's in the waves. And to me, so there is a prime example. That wasn't words that were picked out of that vocabulary. So, so I said, okay, I gotta buy this and experiment with it, and I did. And then I started seeing the repeat of words over and over on different locations. So, but I do believe that you can capture really good evidence with these things sometimes, depending on what it is. So you have to try it. you have to experiment
Yeah.
with things. It's important.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's like like you were saying, it fit the situation,
Oh yeah.
and it was more than one statement. There was 3 statements there. So,
Yeah.
and I actually brought an example if you want to listen to it.
Sure.
Where you can get gibberish, but if it fits a scenario and it answers your questions, that's when you pay attention. A little background on this piece, and I call this part of one of my paranormal gold situations because it was so interactive. Um, it I was at a location where there was a group of investigators who were volunteers, and they were in and out of there a lot. I was one of them. So they get to know you in those situations where you're in and out of there a lot. I mean, we spent months at this location. We were basically the groundskeepers, and we were the tour guides. So they get to know you, and in this, it's a spirit box that
Mm.
spits out words, but it actually mimicked one of the investigators' voices in it, and it discusses situations that are kind of unique. So I'll play it, and then you can kind of tell me what you think.
Okay.
Does Todd know? She left something. Don't let. That's weird. Something about a shadow. Yep, shadow. Yep. Music. You like music? Just... Did he play music? Carolyn. Carolyn. Better stop it. Carolyn, take my hand. Carolyn, take my hand. Look how much brighter it got. Carolyn, take my hand. Carolyn. Look at the light on the floor. Look at, okay.
Okay, so
Wow. Yeah,
That's
great.
awesome.
Yeah, those are interactive. Yeah, that's excellent.
yeah, so there is a big shadow that moves through there that kind of like, it almost seems like it keeps all the other spirits there kind of like under wraps and won't let them leave.
Sure.
And it appears as a big shadow. And we were
Wow.
trying to guide Carolyn, which was one of the nurses that had passed away, out
Yeah.
of that building.
Wow.
And she wouldn't go because, well, as you can hear, the shadow is coming. And then this other thing comes in and says, because it was me and another female investigator, she says, girls, they're not worth doing this, telling us don't you dare pull her out of there. It was just super interesting.
And did you hear that in real time as it was happening?
Yes, these were responses through Spirit Box that were coming through as it was happening.
Oh, that's really amazing. Yeah, that's why I said you got to experiment and try these things. That is really impressive. That's so clear, and you can hear
Yeah.
exactly what they're saying. And it sounds like more than one voice. It sounds like there's maybe
there was a
least two
few voices that came through.
Yeah. That's
eventually-
really great. Yeah.
Yeah, we eventually found out that she didn't want to leave because she was kind of like overseeing all the children's spirits there. It was at a hospital, and there
Oh, wow.
was
Yeah.
a number of spirits that were kind of in there, and a lot of them were children. And whenever there was the children around, Carolyn just happened to be there, and so she wasn't willing to leave because the children there.
Sure. Oh yeah, that's fascinating. That's really great eclipse. Yeah, awesome. Good
Yeah.
job.
Thank thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was quite the location, and I wanna go back. It was actually
yeah,
out in Tennessee, so I'm pretty far
yeah,
from there now, but,
yeah.
they bring me back anytime I want. So,
What part of Tennessee was that?
it was the old now I've drawn a blank. It's the old hospital there in,
Pittsburgh,
what is it?
Pittsburgh, South Hospital.
Old State hold on. Now I have to find it.
Yeah, that's great.
Old Haunted, South Pittsburgh Hospital, so it's in South
South
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh Hospital, right? Yeah, very
Yeah,
famous. A lot of I have a lot of friends that went there and had a lot of bad stuff happen to them. One of my friends, and he's pretty famous in the paranormal field. More, he's done a lot of documentary, and he actually had a heart
yeah,
attack coming out of there, and he had to be hospitalized. So, and it was from something that was affecting him there. So, yeah, so
yeah,
that is an interesting location.
yeah. There is some pretty negative stuff there, and a lot of it tends to center on that 3rd floor up there.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it goes from the 3rd floor to the 1st floor. You don't or 2nd floor. It's kind of calmer when you get into the 1st floor area until you get over into the sort of the west wing area, and then it gets a little bit more intense again. But
oh,
yeah, I mean,
it's,
in this location, each area has a different experience. It's very unique. It's a very interesting
yeah, and
place.
it's there's a lot of dark stuff there from what close friends of mine that are investigators have experienced. Um, my good friend Danny Corley, who's a really great investigator, she was there, spent the weekend there. You know, you could camp out in the different rooms, bring tents and sleeping bags, and her parents were actually coming to pick her up, and they were coming in the front door, and something stopped them, and they could not get in physically, was stopping their bodies from entering the front area. And they're not paranormals, and they were freaking out. They're like, what the hell is going on? Um,
Wow.
and and I only believe that because I know her so well, and I know the parents, and I was like, oh my god! I said I do believe that. So yeah, I've
Wow.
heard some. I heard so many bad things that I'm like, I'm not interested in even going there.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I love it because I mean, I've gained an affinity with the spirits there, and
Yeah,
I had one of my most intense experiences there that I've never really talked about before on any kind of situation like this where other people can hear. But I've gained an affinity towards it. Even the more negative side of things, I've kind of
yeah,
figured out how to get along with that in a way.
yeah, yeah. It's so funny you say that because my friend Danny said the same exact thing, and she's a very good investigator. And she said I have a bond there for some reason. I don't know why, but and just like what you just said, she said the same thing. I was like, wow, that's interesting.
Yeah, yeah, it's quite the unique place. There's
Hmm.
another place that's close to there. It's the Halesbar Dam, and
Yeah, yeah, I know of
it's
it well.
it's
Yeah,
got that similar sort of intensity of energy, but
yeah,
Halesbar Dam is very dark. It's a very dark location to investigate. So,
yeah.
if you don't want to get into more of the darker side of things, I would avoid that location
Right,
by all
right.
costs.
Yeah, I have friends that have investigated there too, as well, and said similar things. You know.
Yeah,
Me, I'm on the lighter side. You know, I'm looking for nice spirits. I'm
yeah,
looking
that's
for the nice
experience.
EVPs. I already had the ones tell me to go fuck myself. So
Oh wow, yeah. Honestly, I mean, we're an hour and a half in. I
oh, wow.
could honestly talk to you for hours and hours and hours. There's so many questions I had written down that we didn't even get to touch on because other things were coming up as we were talking. But you're a really fascinating guest, and
Thank you.
I hope that you'll join us on again sometime
Oh,
because
absolutely,
I'm
anytime.
sure you'll
Sure.
have more by the
Oh,
time.
I have
Yep.
years worth of stuff to share with you. But thank you for having me on. It's been great, and I love hearing your experiences too, both of you. Um, now, I love to share, but I love to hear other people's experiences too. That's so important to me. You know.
Yeah. And I mean, we learn through our own experiences and through listening about others, really. That's the way
That's
we
right.
learn.
That's right.
But I
sure.
just want to remind everybody to make sure, if you like listening to these EVPs, you have more available on your YouTube page, Journey Through the Past,
Yeah.
and on your other one, um,
Haunted
yeah, I'm
Frequencies.
drawing a blank. I got grandma mind going.
Haunted Frequencies, which is all about EVPs, and you can actually watch it on YouTube and also Spreaker.com, which is like old school radio blogs. So if you don't want to sit there and watch videos, you can just listen to the stories and the EVPs.
Very
I got a
cool. I love
question
it.
for you,
Similar
Michael.
to tonight. Oh, go ahead.
What is your most intense or most scariest encounter you've ever had while doing your paranormal research?
You get that question a lot, and I never find a good answer because I haven't had a lot of bad experiences, and I haven't had a lot of scary things. Probably one of the best experiences I've had, which kind of blew my mind. Years ago, we were invited to investigate a property that was being sold, and the realtors wanted to sell it as haunted and list it as haunted because uh, the owners had experiences and they actually moved out. So the house was for sale. The house was completely empty, and they asked us to come in. They said before we list it and say it's haunted, we want a group to come in and prove that it's haunted. And so we did, and we went in, and the house was completely empty, no furniture, nothing. Beautiful house, Civil War era, and actually part of the Civil War prison encampment was on the front lawn of this property. So this whole area here in North Carolina was part of a prisoner area. And so I was setting up a camera in this parlor, shooting through the doorway up the stairs because they kept saying that they saw a little girl there. And so I was setting up the camera and getting the angle right, and I was looking through my screen, and I went to back up, and I felt like I fell over. I actually tripped over something really hard, and to me, it almost felt like a piece of furniture or something really hard. And I fell backwards, and I landed on my ass. And for a minute, I was like, "What the hell just happened?" And so and then I realized, I'm like, and it felt like it was maybe 2 or 3 feet high, and I was like, "Holy shit! I wonder if that was the child." And I was backing up, and I fell backwards and landed on my ass. And I was like, and it blew me away that happened. And of course, the camera was running and it was shooting towards the stairs. And I was like,
Oh,
but that was probably one of my crazier experiences.
wow.
It was completely empty. There's no furniture in there.
So you physically got shoved?
No, I didn't get shoved. I actually fell over something solid. It almost, I describe it as like if you took a telephone pole and cut it down to 2 or 3 feet high and you were walking backwards and you fell over it. That's exactly what I felt. It felt that hard, that solid, would not budge. And it actually hurt my back. When I landed, I was like, it kind of threw my back out. And it wasn't me tripping over my feet. I was backing up to look through the camera and I fell over this thing. And I was like, what the hell did I just fall over? And so that was one of my crazier experiences as far as, the paranormal.
Pretty intense.
Yeah. And I love it. I enjoy it, and that's what's kept me going all these years. It's always new experiences. So nothing other than families that are being harmed or scared by things, which that bothers me that they're experiencing that. I've had no bad experiences, so I guess I'm very lucky.
Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with the energy that you put out and kind of what you're seeking going in with a blank slate, not expecting anything crazy. Yeah,
What you put out there is what you get back. So true.
absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Michael, it has been absolutely wonderful talking with you tonight, and
Thank
we
you.
hope
That's
to
fine.
have you back on again.
Great.
And again, you want to see more of Michael La Chiana, Journey Through the Past on YouTube, as well as your EVP channel.
Yeah, Haunted Frequencies.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. It's been
Thank
great.
you.
And I wish everybody a good night and keep hunting.
Good night.